For French flower making, you not only need the brass tools and the heating iron, but you also need a sandbag. And I'm going to just show you simply how to make your sandbag. And there is an attached pattern, so you know the sizes that you require. So it is a bag, preferably of a cotton substance that will not burn or scorch, and the preferred fabric is unbleached calico. Some of my students get up to all sorts of mischief and recreate them, but you'll notice it's got the sand in it, but it's also got something to hold it firm, and that is a very high density foam contained all in the bag. So that the foam and sand don't mix together, I have the sand in one bag, slip it inside the outside bag with the foam. Now the foam that I find the best is a high density foam. It's only about 1.3 centimetres depth. It's not very deep at all, but you can see when I press it, you've got to really press hard. And when you're using your tools and you're pushing into it, if it was only sand, you would push right through and there was no bounce back. Because to create all these little petals where you're trying to curve the silk, you must be able to make an indentation into the sandbag so you can hold it and make the shape of the petal. So the process is to cut out these two bags. One bag is smaller than the other. This is the larger one, and I have machined it up this side. This side I put on the fold, and it has one opening. So I'm going to turn that through. This is the outer bag. The inner bag I've already turned through, and you can see it is slightly smaller. This is the bag that I'm going to put the sand into. The other thing is with students, occasionally they do something they shouldn't do and they actually burn it, the outer bag, and so that I don't have my white sand flowing everywhere over the bench, knowing that it's in another bag, there's a guarantee that they couldn't burn through 2 layers, but you never know. So to do this, what I'm going to do is sit this into a glass and just push it right down into the glass. And just sit it over the glass so that I can get the sand in. And I've come across this amazing little invention. It's called the Big Mouth Funnel. And you just clip it in. Has all sorts of purposes. But you see, I don't want the sand everywhere over my bench here. Now the sand is actually white Noosa sand. And it has a large powdery base, and that's why you need the close fitted fabric of the calico, so you don't get all this sand powder coming through. And so I'm going to tip this in slowly into the bag through my funnel so I don't have sand everywhere.
Raise it up a bit. Yep.
Just need to add a little bit more. I'm going to use my funnel because I just don't want it everywhere. Right, I think that's about enough. It's about a cup and a half of sand. I'm going to tuck that in each side, and I'm going to machine that. In fact, I'm going to machine it twice because this is an opening and I don't want sand coming through this end of the bag. The first thing I'm going to do is make my stitch down from 4 to 2 in the stitch length. And re-stitch that again, just a little bit on the top side of the last row. It's a small stitch because I just don't want the sand coming through. Our sand is completely encased. I'm going to place the foam in first. Shake it all in, and then I have to seal this up again. I'm only going to stitch this once because it's a little bit awkward with the foam in there. It's a little bit cosy. Just tidy up the end because I don't want raw end sticking out. You could hand stitch this if you wanted to, but remember it's just a tool. As long as it functions, that's what's important. And if the sand did escape from the inner bag, well, if it's machined with a small stitch, less chance of having loose sand everywhere. I choose white sand because if some of the fine sand comes through the bag, it's not going to stain my silk because it's a white sand. If you have the dark river sand, you'll find first of all it's not as fine, and secondly some of the dust, the brown dust, could come through the bag onto your cream silk for the bride. I purchased my sand from a landscaping supply place, and so sometimes the hardwares have small containers of sand, but just make sure it's a light coloured sand. The main thing is that you can shake your sand around, because if you have done the French flower making lesson with me and you're constantly putting pressure on the sand, what you're doing is compacting it, and the more compacted it is, the less you can get the shaping just right. So that's why it's important you can be able to shake it. You're actually adding air amongst the sand, and then you can start again with shaping your petals. So that's a quick and easy way, and the pattern is supplied so you can make it for yourself, and you'll love French flower making.